David showers with his underwear on because a female ghost has been staring at him. When David watches TV, she sings right in front of him. When a female neighbor comes over to borrow the bathroom, the ghost causes trouble. With no other choice, David calls in a master to perform rituals, but neither Western nor Eastern magic has any effect on Elizabeth. David is frustrated. This is the apartment he just rented, and on his very first night he encountered Elizabeth. She tells him this is her home and assumes he is a burglar. She says she will give him anything valuable if he just leaves, but when she looks down she realizes her body is passing through the table. David tells her she is dead. Elizabeth angrily lunges at him, but she passes through the window and falls. David thinks she has died again, but when he turns around she is standing right behind him. From then on, Elizabeth keeps appearing and disappearing out of nowhere. She trying to make him move out. She eventually discovers that David is the only one who can see her, and that she has lost her memory and does not even know who she is. Not wanting to be bothered forever, David agrees to help her uncover the truth. He asks every neighbor in the building, but no one has heard of Elizabeth. With no other leads, David takes her to wander the nearby streets. They arrive at a restaurant and push the door open, only to see a customer lying on the floor. At that moment, Elizabeth seems to remember something and instructs David to perform first aid. Under her step-by-step guidance, the man is saved. Elizabeth finally remembers she is a doctor. The two hurry to the hospital, and when Elizabeth sees her colleagues, her past comes flooding back. She had been on her way to a blind date when she was in a car accident. Suddenly, she feels a mysterious force drawing her somewhere. She enters a patient room and sees herself lying in bed. She is not dead, but she has been in a coma for 3 months. David suggests she try returning to her body. Elizabeth lies down, but her soul cannot merge with it. Before they can think of a solution, they hear the doctor outside advising Elizabeth's sister to sign the papers, which would mean true death for her. With no other choice, David goes to her sister to tell the truth. Her sister thinks he is crazy and throws him out. To lift her spirits, David takes Elizabeth to a garden in the countryside. David is a landscape designer. As they walk in, Elizabeth is stunned, saying she has seen this place in her dreams. In this paradise-like garden, they look into each other's eyes and feel a spark they have never felt before. Suddenly, David's phone rings. It is the agent telling him the apartment can now be signed for a long-term lease, which means Elizabeth's sister has signed the consent form to end treatment. David decides to steal Elizabeth's body from the hospital and calls his best friend Jack for help. Jack thinks they are just moving medical equipment, but at the hospital, David starts taking a bunch of machines. Confused, Jack demands an explanation, and David admits that Elizabeth is real and standing right behind him. Jack is skeptical. They reach Elizabeth's hospital room, and Jack freezes the moment he sees her. She is the same woman he once set up on a blind date with David. Elizabeth had been on her way to meet David when the accident happened. The two men carry Elizabeth's body out of the room, but this alerts security. In the struggle, a guard accidentally pulls off Elizabeth's respirator. The monitor flatlines, and Elizabeth's spirit begins to fade. David tries to wake her with a kiss, but it does not stop her from disappearing. Security drags David away, but then the monitor suddenly shows a heartbeat again, and Elizabeth starts breathing. David rushes to her side, but the awakened Elizabeth does not seem to know who he is. She has no memory of him, and a heartbroken David leaves. A few days later, David moves out of the apartment. Elizabeth moves back in and senses that someone once lived there. She slowly walks to the rooftop, which used to be empty, but now is a beautiful garden. David is there, giving the flowers one last trim before leaving her world for good. When he hands the keys back to her, their hands touch, and Elizabeth suddenly remembers everything. The memories flood back, and the two embrace again.